I'm repairing my mast, my Starboard 95 centimeter mast, where the mast attaches to the fuselage. There is a crack right here, and it isn't on this side, but it is right there. Let's see if we can focus in. And it does go down here. There's a fine hairline crack right there too. And I see it. So I talked to my friends Mike and Darius. Also talked to Eddie and Adrian from Big Win / Starboard. And I have some good ideas. I'm gonna first try to put some tape over here, throw some epoxy in, and see if that cleans it up, clamp it also. If that doesn't look like it's enough, I'll probably grind down some material and put some layers of carbon. Let's get to it. I'm gonna use some denatured alcohol to clean up the spot. Spot I'm gonna be doing repairs on. Let's just pour some in. I heard this as a recommendation. If I'm not going to be doing carbon layers, try to add a bunch of thin pieces of carbon into the mix. Nice. Yeah, I was just playing around with it with the screwdriver, and I'm going very light here, but I don't notice the hole opening at all. So there's plenty of carbon fiber, even though it looks like a ferocious crack, there's plenty of carbon fiber holding this in place. So I believe I'm not going to worry about the clamp. I'm just going to tape it and pour some epoxy. I was trying to find a depth gauge for, here we go, for this, and I found after this goes through, after the screw goes through the fuselage, there's about this much space in the screw, and I realized there's quite a big hole right in there. Let's see if we can focus in. There's a deep hole right there, but if I go here for the depth gauge, it doesn't go down all the way, it stops right there. So I don't need to drill deeper in, and in fact I'm going to make sure all these aren't drilled in, because that could be a weak point if these were over drilled. I guess if you had a longer screw it'd go in just fine, but with this there's no reason, because these are the stock screws. Let's check that out. The second one came out just fine, just a little muscle. This one I'm going to try just to pour a little bit of denatured alcohol in it, in the hole. That might help loosen it up. Well, that was difficult. With the vice grips and everything, I was able to get this last one out. Let's see. See inside. Usually I just do 3 coats of fiberglass, sand it down. I'm going to try something a little different. I'm going to try to use the same mixture, the epoxy with the little bit of carbon snippets to kind of put around this, see if it holds. I'm going to be doing a lot of repairs. So I want to do a drill right at the end of each hole, each crack, so the crack doesn't spread any further. A little bit. So I can sand it flush. Just use like 40 or 80 grit sandpaper, but today I'm going to try this. Got some eye protection on. Okay. This is working, but I'm not a fan. I'm going to go to sandpaper. This is 40 grit circular wire tool. That was intense. Denatured alcohol. And let's go here, just gonna have a little over the top. And the other two, I'm gonna try my best to just kind of pour into the hole a little bit of epoxy to fill the bottom of the hole for reinforcing just because it's not necessary to have the hole go down that far. With this, I can just pour to the top. I just realized now it might be difficult to have these fibers drip through, but I'm gonna have to get creative on getting these to go all the way through and fill the space. Yeah, I pretty much know this isn't gonna work. There's just too much filling I want to do, and it's all just fully saturated, so I might just use epoxy for this idea, but I will go ahead and try this on my other repair that needs done. There we go. Let's try this out, see what happens. So I was finished with this spot. It's very goopy, and all the cutting of the fibers and all of the time, it looks just like a sheet of carbon fiber or fiberglass and about 2 to 3 layers of thickness. So I definitely, it was a lot more awkward just spreading it and gooping it. In the future for repairs like this, I'm just going to use 3 layers of carbon or 3 layers of fiberglass. Fill up these holes a little bit. Any extra reinforcing couldn't hurt. Okay, that worked out much better than I thought I was going to. Smooth it out a little bit. See how this works. Okay, that's dripping in just nice. Okay. Ooh, overfilling a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna let this sit for a little bit and see if air bubbles come out, and I'll put more in. Nice. Well, it's next day. I'm going to take off some of this, take off the masking tape. Just one little tiny spot right there that it didn't go to the edge, but I think it would be plenty of glue inside. I might put a little bit more on that after I get it cleaned up. First bit is a 3/32. Don't have a drill press, so I'm only going to go halfway through on each side. Oh, nice. It isn't fully cured, so it's nice and easy to drill through. If I'm off center at all on either side, I can kind of grind it back to center. Go up to 1/8. 3/16. I'm at 1/4 inch now. 3/8. The bolt is 12 millimeters, which is less than 1/2 of an inch. And the next drill bit size I have is a 1/2 inch, so I will break out the Dremel. Nice, I'm going to start grinding away the extra epoxy. Switching bits, this bit just happens to be 11 millimeters. Okay. Sometimes when you do things for the first time, you learn the hard way of what's better. I have a drill with a low speed. This is perfect. The high speed was what was making it shake out of place. So a little bit more time with this in the center. Just kind of wiggle it a little bit. Nice, I got it to fit. I did a little bit, and as I pushed it in, there's a smooth surface, so I just ground the smooth surface only, and now I've got a really good fit. Drill this top piece out. Go to 3/16. 7/32. I'm gonna try just using this tool. There we go. Nice. And as it goes further in, I'll see shiny spots from when I kind of try to push it in, and I can sand down just those shiny spots, so I'm not removing any extra material. Got all the bolts and screws in line nicely. Obviously getting approximately a 12
millimeter drill bit would be the best way to go. But I really like a really tight but adjustable feel, so going a little smaller and slowly grinding out the spot for the bolts is I think the preferred way to go now after doing it, even though it took a while, because the difference between it not even fitting to being just perfectly snug is so small. It's just such a small little fraction of material to make that. But now they can go in and out easily, and they're nice and snug, so they're not going to move. So I can easily know that when I'm going to attach the fuselage to the mast, they'll screw in really easily and won't have to adjust this every time. Where if I took off too much material, it'd have to be adjusted all the time. I've got 220 grit just to take off some of the additional epoxy that was on the edge. Here I go to. It actually may fit right now, but it'll just take me a few moments to clean this up. I also put a little bit of epoxy on the top ridge to fill up some holes that, I don't know, may have developed into stress cracks. Probably not. Looking pretty good. Almost ready for a test fit. Let's go in for a first test fit, see how this fits in. Oh, okay. Fits down in the groove. Yeah. Looks pretty good. This actually no, this is flush and this is not quite flush. I sand down the back a little bit. This part is looking very good. The base mount. These parts are flush, but the ends are not. And I know this cracked a little bit, and now it's all fully epoxy back in, so that might be the reason why it lifted up, but this is flush. And this part, I'm not sure why it's sticking up a little bit, but I'm going to sand these edges down a little bit and see if that works. Well, that took some time, but right now it's nice and flush. It did a tiny bit of rocking, so I sanded just in the middle, and then it sat flush. And I was like, that would be much better than having it rocking. Even if it's bolted down, it might have a tendency to rock, but now it's solid. Like, subscribe, and share. I would appreciate it.